We have 4 cards today for our daily tarot. The opening card is the Two of Pentacles. The challenge coming in today is the Queen of Wands. The way we're going to get through the challenge is the Queen of Swords, and then the ultimate outcome is the Ace of Wands. I am reading with the prototype of my deck. I drew this deck originally around 10 years ago as part of my apprenticeship to learn the system of tarot and astrology. And I felt really blessed to have that opportunity because when I was a young girl, before I was a teenager, I started collecting a variety of different tarot decks, and people were giving me tarot decks. And so I had about 7 decks by the time I was 14, and I was a little bit disenchanted with learning how to read the tarot because all of the books that I was looking at had certain definitions for cards, and some of those definitions seemed like they contradicted each other, and I just got kind of frustrated with it. So I packed all of my tarot decks away and didn't touch them for about 8 years. And then when I was in my early 20s, I had started working for a coffee shop right after I graduated from college. And a gentleman came in there regularly, and it happened by a series of events that I was asked if I wanted to start studying with him. And I, through that process, began an apprenticeship to learn the systems of tarot and astrology. And through the course of that time, I drew 2 tarot decks. And this is the second deck that I had drawn, which earlier this year I looked into getting them printed so that I could offer them as a way to support my daily readings and also to share the system of the tarot with people. And people often tell me that I read cards very differently than other people that they have had readings from. I think that that's largely because of my apprenticeship. Rather than memorizing the definitions of cards, I learned the systems behind why the cards were drawn the way that they are and why they're numbered and how they are associated with the elements and the laws of 3 and the laws of 4 and how that affects them energetically. And so when I read typically a 12 card layout for people, and that is done in reference to the astrological system, because if you're aware, there are 12, right? There's 12 pieces of the pie in the zodiac system. There's 12 zodiac signs, and each of those is a combination of either one of the Trinity energetics, either active, passive, or neutral, and also an element which is associated with them as well. So fire, earth, air, or water, right? And when you combine the elements with these energies, you get a different outcome, which is why each of the zodiac signs has their own energy that is associated with them. And when I read for people, those energies come through, right? A couple of years ago, when we started, I should say, this shift that we're all in, I started these daily readings for people as a way to connect with people who felt isolated. And in the process of that, the original deck that I had made and drawn by hand and colored, it was laminated, and all of the lamination had started to get damaged and stripped off of it. And so I wanted to continue to read with my deck, which is why I looked into getting this prototype printed, and then people suggested they wanted to buy my cards. So I do leave a link at the bottom of my readings every day in case you would like to pre-purchase one, because I need to order about 50 decks in order to get a decent price. I actually need to order 100 decks to get them UV laminated, which gives them a lot more protection, which is ultimately what I'm going for. But it takes a big investment to do that, which is something that I'm hoping to get some support with by way of offering my daily readings and, of course, regular readings if people would like those as well. I'm also starting up a Patreon account, and by way of that, people who are my patrons will have the opportunity to have me look at their chart. Every month I'm going to start offering a kind of video that goes over the different astrological influences and how they can be affecting our chart. And as I've been giving readings to people, a lot of people comment that in the opening parts of my readings, when I discuss the transits, how impactful that is in helping them understand how the shifts of the planetary bodies in our solar system affect them personally. And so once a month, I'm going to go over these shifts that are happening every month, and I'm going to choose 2 of my patrons to touch on parts of their chart so that people can have a better understanding of how these transits influence us individually in our own personal lives in our own unique ways. So if you're interested in having your chart looked at in that way, or supporting these videos that I create daily by being one of my Patreons and, you know, making a donation, I will have that opportunity available here soon. So let's go ahead and jump into these cards, right? Because we have 4 powerful cards here today. Even though we don't have any major arcanas coming up, we do have these 2 queens on the table, which I have to point out are, of course, signaling some astrological things that are happening right now. We have the Queen of Swords, which is showing up, which is speaking to Libra. We currently have Mercury at 6 degrees of Libra. And then we also have the Queen of Wands showing up, which coincidentally we have Jupiter over in Aries, which the Queen of Wands represents, and it is at 6 degrees retrograde of Aries. So we have this opposition that's happening between Libra and Aries energetically right now in the sky by way of Jupiter retrograde and Mercury, and yet they are also showing up in our reading today. So it's interesting to me. I always have to point these things out because it's reflecting in our own personal lives. So if you look at where you have Libra in your natal chart and where you have Aries in your natal chart, these energies are affecting you in those places of your life. And each of the houses in the house system of the zodiac system represents a different aspect of you and your personal life. So where these energies are showing up astrologically is going to impact you in your own unique way based on how they're showing up in your chart, and also if they happen to be transiting or aspecting by some way of mathematical relationship by degree any planets and how they are positioned in your chart. So that's just a kind of snippet of something to look at if you're feeling the impact of this day or these cards specifically to you. So this opening card of the Two of Pentacles. Now, we have 2 pentacles in our hands, right? When we have 1 pentacle, it's as if we're given an opportunity. We're given a large coin, something of value that's in our hands for us to make the most out of it. When we have 2 coins, there's some kind of balance that we are trying to achieve. And the message of the card is having some kind of harmony or finding balance within the chaos, right? Because we see this person who has this swelling body of water behind them, and in front of them they're paying attention to these coins, which have this belt that's kind of making them move, and they're walking this tightrope. And it's reminding us that even though things can be going on and seemingly in chaos all around us, it's holding on to our values and balancing and finding balance within our values that's going to give us a better sense of direction and a sense of being able to stay the course, right? So that you're not letting your point of view be distracted by what's going on behind you or around you. You keep your energy and attention on what's in front of you that you value and that is bringing you some kind of material return, right? So this is the energy that we are walking into today, this balancing act of like maybe something that we value versus something that we feel like we should be valuing more. The challenge came in today as the Queen of Wands. And I have to point out that the way that we're getting through the challenge is the Queen of Swords. So we have these opposing energies here, right? We have the energy of Aries, which has Jupiter in it right now, and we have the energy of Libra, which currently has Mercury in it. So we have this opposing energy between expansion and how we look at things and how we speak about things and how we describe things, because Mercury is that messenger of the gods. It's our communication and how we share and are in exchange, and it's in the sign of Libra. So right now we are in a place of really needing to focus our energy and exchange around relationship and those one-on-one relationships, rather than just wanting to expand our own personal experience, because Jupiter is this planet of expansion and Aries is this energy of me and what I want to attain. And in a lot of ways, it's bringing up self-development and what calls us out of self, right? It's so interesting to me that our ultimate outcome came in as the Ace of Wands. Now, consider, right, if we have an Ace of Wand and it is lighting the way or lighting the path, if we move from a place of the adventurer, right, like you want to see what's down this dark alley for your own desire of wanting to see what's on the other dark side, that is moving with this wand in a place of, or from a place of self and what we can acquire or what we want to see personally, versus if you carry that wand with the intention and purpose and, you know, motivation to go seek something out for others, or to, you know, find someone who's lost in a cave, for instance. It's this difference in energy of going out in the world for the sense of what we personally can acquire versus being called to task for the intention of the community itself. And so we have this energy that's coming in today by way of this Ace of Wands, which is really the conception of a new idea or a new enterprise or something that we have that's like a spark engaging us in a new way. And I think the energy that's coming in today, at least astrologically, is kind of begging the question of, what are you doing it for? And who are you doing it for? Is it for you? Is it for the energy of wanting to like acquire something or attain something that's always been this lifelong wish of yours, or, you know, this little kid wish of yours? Or is it something that you've grown to realize that this is something that is more important beyond just you, and it's something that you want to step into in a place of community and wanting to be of service to others? Because there is this interesting opposition going on today by way of Mercury and Jupiter. In a lot of ways, it's kind of calling us to task in that, right? Like, what is the benefit of doing something for yourself if it's not to enhance the community and help the community that's around you? And why do we go into relationship if it's not to be in relationship, right? Because there is this challenge that we're working with today in regard of, you know, this life path that we're living, right? And I bring it up because we do have these two opposing energies that are kind of showing up today. And it's interesting because that showed up as our opening card of, where are your values and who gives value to them? Is it you? Is it the outside world? Is it the storybook of happily ever after? Is it the conditioning that you've grown up with? Is it the experience that you've had in life? because something is calling us to be in exchange and not to just be on our own. And I think it is through exchange that we ultimately see the most development of ourselves. So I send you a good wish on this Saturday and during this holiday weekend. I hope you are enjoying it with people that remind you how loved and appreciated you are, and that you also are enjoying the experience, because that's what this journey is all about. I send a lot of love to you, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.